So let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little occult chat. This is your host, The Occult View. Honestly, I don't even know what I want to talk about, tell you the truth. I really don't. But I know I want to talk about something. I realized something. That's what I want to talk about. I realized that we live in a world of, of followers and people who have to have a leader in order to survive. And I'm not saying that sometimes people don't need guidance or need some form of foundation. I mean, we all need that at some point in our lives and in our spiritual, journey, right? But what I am seeing nowadays, what I'm seeing and what I am experiencing is that people really don't have minds of their own. It is okay to question. It is okay to ask questions. It is okay to have your own point of view. You feel what I'm saying? But you see people who are spiritual bullies. And when I say spiritual bullies, I mean people who try to enforce their spiritual prowess or their spiritual beliefs onto other people. And this can come in the form of being a Christian. This can come in the form of being a Muslim or a Buddhist or a or any type of spiritual path. When it begins to turn into it can even come in the form of consciousness. Because when it begins to turn into you trying to convince and force other people that your way is the right way and that what you do is right and everything else other everybody else does is wrong, then that's a problem, especially if you are supposed to be conscious. Now, I understand religious people doing this because we all know religious people are caught in a cycle of pain, suffering, and slavery. Mental slavery, spiritual slavery, they don't see it. Of course not. They think we're all demons and we're all doomed to hell, when in actuality, they're the ones who are really doomed to hell because they refuse to accept knowledge, and not knowledge that comes from me, but they refuse knowledge in general. See, they had the story in the Garden of Eden backwards. It was the tree of life that saved humanity in so many words, but they had it backwards. They made you think that the tree of life was really, they made you think that the tree of life was really a bad omen. But that's because the real tree of life that they were really talking about symbolically was the dark side or the darker side of the tree of life or the dark tree of life, which is the Kalibov. And you had to use certain amounts of wisdom to really understand this. Helicopter flying. That's why I got quiet. That shit is so noisy. So when you don't have knowledge and wisdom and understanding, then that is the path to hell. Lack of knowledge, lack of wisdom, lack of understanding equals spiritual death. I know people have concerns and questions about certain master teachers and certain people and where they are and all of that. I get all that. But at the end of the day, that is really outside of your spiritual journey and your spiritual purpose to find out what happened to Bobby Hemmett, per se. Now, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I ain't got nothing to do with that. But your spiritual journey and your spiritual purpose is to take that journey within yourself, deep within your own subconscious, and even beyond the subconscious. When you go into the realm of the true, the realm of the true dead, which the realm of the true dead is really not death, it is life. I'm not talking about being dead. I'm talking about going into the true realm of the true dead, which is the unconscious mind. That is beyond the subconscious. And a lot of people are not ready for that. That is beyond subconscious um, mechanisms because the subconscious has a foot still in the realm of particles, which is the physical realm. But when you go into the unconscious, you are in the realm of the dead. You're in the realm of light and darkness when you go into the unconscious realm. Because where you find darkness, you will find light. Because light comes from darkness, right? So how can someone say, I wasn't really listening, but something came across my peripheral vision. How can someone say that dark magic? Well, first of all, the person who made this comment, they obviously don't understand dark magic, and I'm not here to explain it. I know what dark magic is, but I'm not here to explain that. That again, I believe in people finding their own interpretation. But dark magic is just like occultism. It is that which is hidden within yourself and what you choose to uproot out of the dark and manifest. So, how can someone say that dark magic can only get you but so far when they were talking in reference to Brother Panic's um, transitioning? And I'm assuming this person is of a train of thought of believing in what he calls the Most High. But do people even know what the Most High is? Most people think that the Most High is some old black man with a long beard with a white turban on his head. That is the envision, or that is the vision, though that's what most people envision when they think about the Most High. And most people don't even have a clue as to what the Most High really is. And that's okay that most people think, or some people think, who are part of the Yahweh effect. if that is what they want to be part of. But these people, they get involved in the business of the goats. If you are a sheep and a follower, you need to remain a sheep and a follower and leave the goats alone. Brother Panic was a goat. He didn't want no followers, but he was a goat. And people followed the lead of the goat. I am a goat. I don't follow the lead of anyone else. But I think it's very disturbing and destructive for sheeps to be able to run amok and do the things that they do. I was having a conversation with um, a friend of mine tonight, and he and I were talking about a lot of the stuff that's going on in reference to the things that are being said about Brother Panic since his passing. And he made a comment that the internet, and I think he was, because this brother is very deep, he's involved in deep levels of dark occultism, just as I am. And when people hear the word, first of all, how can you be a black man or a black woman and be afraid of the terminology dark? I learned a long time ago, whenever they talk about dark magic or darkness in a negative, sinister way, they're talking about us and our melanin. You want to know what black magic is and dark magic is? It's really talking about our melanin and what the melanin can produce. Most people know that. I don't need to give a sermon on that. So when I hear black men talk about, well, dark magic can only get you so far. So you're basically saying that your power as a black man can only get you so far. And then you wonder why you can't manifest anything. You're constantly looking outside of yourself for answers when the answers are right there within you the entire time. But that's right, you don't really like your darkness. You don't like your dark, unfiltered melanin. And I'm not talking about your skin tone, I'm talking about the darkness of who you are, the chaotic energy, not in a bad way, but in a divine way. So you don't like that. So you turn it into something to be feared. You turn it into something to be afraid of. And you tell people that they're going to go to hell if they don't follow your path. How can you be a black man and be afraid of your own essence and the very thing that you're made from? Have you ever stopped to think that that is the trick? Everything has sorcery and witchcraft in it. I hate to break the news to you all. Everything has sorcery and witchcraft in it, even the Bible. Even the Bible. But that's why I say that the world is really a group of followers and sheeps. That is why I say that. Because people can't think for themselves, they have to have people to think for them. But me and this friend, we were talking, and he said that people should have to pass a test. They should have to pass a I'm going to say a competence test and an IQ test before they should be allowed to get onto forums like YouTube, because a lot of these people are very destructive with their words and their actions. You want to know why people are volatile? You want to know why people are weirdos and do all types of weird things on a spiritual level online? You want to know why people do those types of things? A lot of these people, they lack spirit, they lack intelligence, and they are sheep. That is why I said that sheep are dangerous people. I remember that episode of Charmed where the sisters were trying to they were trying to reverse the fact that they had been exposed. Magic had been exposed in the world, and Prue, that was the episode that Prue was killed, was murdered by that demon Shax. And they were trying to reverse what had happened. And this woman invaded their home, this woman named Alice Hicks, and she wanted to be part of their coven. But what she did not know is that the charmed ones, they did not allow people part of their coven because they were goats and they weren't looking for any followers. They weren't looking for any sheep. It wasn't personal, but the Halliwell bloodline was strictly for Halliwells. I mean, I think the grandmother had a basic coven, but when it came to real serious magic, the Halliwells only dealt with other Halliwells because the Halliwell bloodline had to remain pure. So this woman came into their home and she thought they were going to accept her. Why? I don't know. And they threw her out of their house. And she comes back and she shoots Piper because she felt like they were evil witches because they had boundaries and they had standards. Goats have standards. Goats have standards. They have standards. And I'm going to say this too. And I really don't want to keep harping on this, but since it's a hot topic, you can have a human issue with someone. Okay? You can have a human issue with someone. You may not like the person on a human level. That's all well, fine, and good. But what that does not give you the right to do is to try to discredit that person's legacy and discredit that person's integrity. That does not give you the right to do that. There were a lot of people that did not like Brother Panic, and I understand that. Maybe he rubbed some people wrong on a human level. Hell, sometimes he rubbed me wrong on a human level sometimes. But one thing I will never do is get on this platform and say publicly some of the things that I've been hearing people say. You just don't do shit like that, especially when it's unfounded and not true. I understand having a human error and having a human problem with someone. I get that. I understand it. And I'm not here to debate that. But to try to tear down a person's legacy because they had boundaries and because they were a goat. And this is not me taking up for anything. I'm just looking at things for what it is. I'm looking at it for what the truth of it is. I'm putting aside all of the, woulda, shoulda, couldas, what if this conspiracy. I'm putting that aside for a moment. I'm putting that aside for just one moment. For just a moment. I'm not taking up for anybody, and I don't need nobody taking up for me. But I'm just showing you how the world is built on sheeps and followers. And sheeps and followers, when they don't get their way with the person, or when they are not secure enough in their own spiritual being, this is the type of shit that they do. They slander people. They make up lies on people. They try to tear down people's legacy, tear down the human edifice. I get it. Tear down the human actions, but to tear down a person's legacy that has helped and guided a lot of people. I had my issues with panic too on a human level. One incident, one incident. Now, I did not know him, intimately. I did not, because I was not a close, intimate friend of his. But whenever he was around me, he treated me very well. Just one incident, just one. And I'm not making this about Brother Panic per se, but the world in general is moving in a sheep fashion. Everyone wants a leader, everyone wants to follow someone. Everyone wants to follow someone, and everyone wants a leader, right? Everyone wants to follow, and everyone wants a leader. But don't nobody want to listen to their own spirit. You want a leader, you want to follow, and you want to be a follower. Okay. But when your spirit tries to lead you, you don't want to follow it because you're not secure in your spirit. So when you're not secure in your spirit, especially as a black man who's supposed to be a spiritual being, a divine being, of course, you're going to attack another black man who is deceased and try to tear down his legacy. And tell people that their spiritual work is not working. It's the same thing when you go to a wise woman or a witch and somebody tries to tear the wise woman or the witch down and say, oh, you don't go to her. It's the same thing. If some people were secure in their own being, there would be no room for any of this crap that we see now. And a lot of it is coming from a bad place. How can you talk about the Most High when you don't even know what the Most High is? You think the Most High is another man like you. You have put the identity of the Most High as another man like you. And that is because of what you've been told. It's not based upon what you know, it's based upon what has been programmed into your subconscious. That is why people have to be careful with the subconscious, because the subconscious can also give you illusions, because the subconscious has one foot in this world and one foot in the unconscious world. And because we're having a human experience, sometimes the lines can get blurred. Sometimes the communication can be confusing. Sometimes. You're a black man and you're worshiping another man? Your most high is another man. Let's look at this in retrospect. Why would a grown man bow down to another man? You could have a wife, you can have children, You know what I'm saying? I'm just going inside of the psyche and mind of a lot of these Yahweh effect sheep and most high effect sheep. Some of these people have children that they don't care about. Some of these men have women that they don't care about. They're married to women, and yet you're bending down and bowing down to another man, and you're calling this man God. What about thou shalt not worship any graven images? Or thou shalt not bow down to any graven images? What about that? Mr. Christians and Mrs. Christians and all the rest of that bullshit. And I'm not attacking Christianity. I'm attacking the mentality of the people that follow it. Since they want to get involved in goats business, you bow down to a whole grown man. Everything about that energy is very masculine. And it's not masculinity that is connected to divinity, it's just masculine energy. And then you wonder why there's so much homosexuality among religious people and not just Christians. You wonder why there's so much homosexuality. You wonder why there's so much volatile energy within these people. And it's because the energy's not balanced. It's not balanced. A lot of these types of men who talk this way, who talk against sorcery and witchcraft and talk against dark magic and all of that, a lot of these men have women. And what do they bring the women? But you want to open your mouth about Brother Panic, right? You want to talk about Brother Panic didn't know, and he did. You want to talk about Brother Panic, but Brother Panic's wife, Khadijah has everything. Panic gave Khadijah the universe and treated her like she was the universe. While most of these other men who have failed in their lives, they bring their women STDs, problems, baby mamas, heart attacks, strokes, cancer, heartache, depression, oppression. The same thing that my step grandfather brought my grandmother, which is why she died when she was only 44 years old. She was younger than Panic. Hmm. See what sheep do? See, my grandmother was a goat. She was a misguided goat that got caught up with a sheep. And you have to make a determination about yourselves. Are you a goat or are you a sheep? Sheeps are dangerous. You shouldn't have your mouth open about a goat. Period. It doesn't matter who it is. But I could not remain silent about this because this is how the world is moving. Sheeps and fake goats, most of the people that you think that you're following that are goats are really sheep. They're really sheep. How can you talk about the Most High when you're not even operating in your Most High? Because if you were operating in your Most High, whether someone is doing witchcraft and sorcery or doing dark magic would not matter to you. That is why a lot of you end up in the predicaments that you do because you're minding other people's business. If you were really tapping into the Most High, if you were really tapping into the Most High, as you all call it, you would not be entertained nor interested in what another man is doing and how another man cleans his balls and critiquing what someone else believes because they don't believe or practice what you practice. See, for me, it's not a belief, it's a knowing. And that's why none of you most high Yahweh niggas can fucking touch me. Your words don't impress me. You don't impress me. And you don't have to. Because I'm not attacking you for what you believe. I'm attacking the fact that you think you can use what you believe to attack other people's spiritual paths. My grandmother used to have a saying: nobody knows you are a fool until you open your mouth and remove all doubt. It is best to remain silent sometimes. And some of you people, you need to remain silent. Some of you need to remain silent. What is your legacy going to be? What is your legacy going to be? I tell you one thing, if it's between you and Brother Panic, I would rather, I want to know what he did. And he told me. I would rather be in those shoes than in yours. If there was a choice, and I'm only speaking hypothetically, not literally, because he left behind a masterful legacy. No matter what human error I may have had with him, that's okay. It happens sometimes. And we squashed that. We squashed it. We did. Yeah, I figured it out. We squashed it because there was never a problem to begin with. It was about understanding. It was about growth and enlightenment for myself, not latching on to him or anyone else. See, the problem with the sheep is they want to be the goat, but you're not made to be a goat. You're made to be a sheep. Maybe in the next lifetime you'll be a goat. Maybe I'll be a sheep, but you're made to be a sheep. That's why a lot of people don't like me, because I follow the beat of my own tune. I don't go along with everybody else. Even when I met Panic, even when I met Panic, when he did a lecture somewhere, when I met him in Baltimore, when he did a lecture, he said to me when I was getting ready to leave, he was like, "You getting ready to leave?" It was like he wanted me to stay. I was like, "Yeah, I'm getting ready to leave, Panic. I'm going home. I had a long way to go." I said, "Yeah, I'm going home." I wasn't sitting around none of them. Yeah, I wasn't going to sit around. Nah, once I got the knowledge and the information, I bounced. It wasn't that I didn't want to be around Brother Panic, of course. It's just that I was ready to go. I've always been comfortable being in my own space and being alone and by myself. I've always been that way. That is the makings of a goat. And people have a problem with that. because I am that way. People have a problem with me because I am that way. And that's okay. They have a right to have a problem with that. They just better not try to do anything about it. But usually, black people have a serious problem when you're not social with them and when you don't really want to be bothered with them like that. It's nothing personal, baby. It's nothing personal. It's just that that is my personality. I have a small group of people that I deal with, and that can even be smaller because I'm a goat, and that's based upon the research of the numbers that make me up, the formula that makes me who I am. I'm a goat. That is why I act the way that I do. That is why I don't like a lot of people around me because I am a goat. I'm on the mountaintop. I don't have time to deal with sheep unless you're trying to become a goat. I only deal with other goats. And if we have a disagreement, we go our separate ways and leave it at that. No problem. My friend, he had to call me out. My friend I was talking to on the phone, not my boyfriend, but my friend that I was talking to on the phone. He had to leave me a message and call me out on some things, and I'm glad he did that because I'm human as well, and I have human flaws too. Sometimes I trip on shit that I should not trip off of, and I should not have tripped off of that misunderstanding that I had with Panic. And no, I'm not saying this because he passed away. This was in my mind even before, right before he passed away. This was on my mind. And I truly believe that was him, his spirit, communicating with me. I truly believe that. So you continue, being a sheep. You continue being a sheep and you let us goats do our own thing. You can be a sheep. There's nothing wrong if you want to be a sheep, as long as you don't become dangerous. And some of y'all are dangerous people with your mouth and your words and how you try to instill fear and chaos in people, how you try to change the trajectory of people's spiritual path with fear and misinformation. And you try to guide people to worship something outside of themselves that has not been working for any black person. It has not been working. That religion has not worked for black people. Not even the Yahweh shit has not worked for black people. It has not worked. Black people are more confused and lost than they have ever been in history. While you're telling black people that black magic is bad, Latinos, Hispanics, Asians, white people, they're practicing our shit While these dusty Negroes are sitting over here trying to say that Brother Panic taught people the wrong thing. I tell you one motherfucking thing, coming in contact with Brother Panic, and I'm not giving him per se credit, but coming in contact with him, my pockets are never empty. That's true, pure, genuine generosity. Coming in contact with him, I never went hungry. He was always generous, shouting people out. But these dusty Negroes is talking shit. I'm talking about the men. I ain't talking about no women. I'm talking about the men. These dusty Negroes is talking shit. What do you have to offer? Because people have real problems. The alchemy that I did, the prosperity spell work that I did, it really helped me. Who wants to be hungry? Who wants to struggle on a constant basis? I know that there are challenges. Even when I was homeless for about 3 months, 3 years ago, about three, 2.5, yeah, 2.5, 3 years ago, when I was homeless for a short period of time, I was still okay. While everyone else around me was struggling to deal with that in my community, I was okay. I was able to afford the Wi Fi every week in my room so I could look at some cable, so I could get on the internet. I was able to buy all the foods that I wanted to eat. I wasn't starving. These motherfucking niggas want people to starve. Keep talking about this vegan bullshit. Fuck veganism. Fuck your veganism. Fuck your poverty. Now I'm getting mad now. Fuck your veganism and fuck your poverty. Veganism is poverty. And I don't give a fuck who it offends. I want my lamb, ham, chickens. I got lamb, tomatoes, ham, like what's her name? Shirley Caesar. Shit, fuck that. Fuck your veganism. And I'm not saying fuck vegans. I'm saying fuck your veganism because you've turned that into another religion to harass people and to take away people's rights to eat what they want to eat. I want my refrigerator to be full and I don't want to be in your poverty. Now, let me say this as a disclaimer. I am not saying that you should not balance that out with something, vegetables and green shakes. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm not drinking no motherfucking powdered chalk and that bullshit you see on TV advertising. What's the name of that bullshit? Coachella sounds like dog food. And I'm supposed to believe that that shit is helping you? No, most of you niggas got to eat berries and sand because you don't have a choice. But then you'll sit up and make fun of a single mother that may be going through some things. You'll sit up and make fun of a single mother that may have some issues that are out of her control because you're a follower, you're a sheep. That's what sheeps do. They torment people. They harass people. But they will not face their own spirit now, will they? The real reason you all are looking for something outside of yourself is because you're afraid to go within and find your true self. Talking about some motherfucking familiar spirits. You ain't talking to your ancestors. You talking to familiar spirits. Yeah, that's what white people told you because they didn't want you communicating with your ancestors because your ancestors could give you that real tea on what's really going on. And you can get spiritual guidance from your ancestors. But how can you do that when you have outsiders telling you that talking to your ancestors is demonic and you're really talking to demons? Now, sometimes you can run across. No, how about this? Let me say this: the familiar spirit is you all. You all are the archons. You all are the demons masquerading as disciples of the Most High. You're the Antichrist disciples. That's what you are. You notice how they always talk about the Most High and they don't say anything about Christ energy because a lot of them are stuck. Not even in the third dimension. A lot of you all are stuck in the second dimension, which is a dimension of torment. The third dimension can be suffering, but you can also get certain forms of enlightenment within the third dimension, which is what we're in now. But when you're stuck in the second dimension, you are a sheep that is tormented and you don't even know it. That's the sad thing. The second dimension is lack of wisdom, lack of understanding, and lack of knowledge. That is hell. No, the real reason that you don't want to look within yourself is because most of these people, the real reason they don't want to look within themselves is because most of these people, these sheeps, they are afraid of what they're going to find. And I understand that because, baby, when I've gone into meditation, I have seen aspects of myself and I'll be like, who the freak is that? But we all have a dark, sinister side. We all have that. We all have those different polarities that we're dealing with. But the difference is that you don't manifest them, you learn from them, and you try to transmute it and you make it into something creative that works for you, like what I'm doing now. You don't go around like a prophet or a prophetess of doom instilling fear in people, telling people that their spiritual path is wrong and yours is right. That's a cult. That's a Jim Jones move. That's what Jim Jones did. That's what David Koresh did. They were all manipulated by archonic energy. The second dimension, the dimension of torment. Jim Jones took those people to a whole nother dimension out in the jungle. But people ain't really talking about that. He took them to a whole nother fucking dimension. He took them to the dimension of torment and fear. At least in the third dimension, you can get some assistance. If you are a sheep, in closing, if you are a sheep, stay in a sheep's lane. Because if not, you know what happens to lambs and sheeps? They get led to the slaughter. And I love me some lamb chops. Just think about that. And I'm speaking metaphorically, not literally, metaphorically. And I'm speaking how the world is going and how the world is being led. The world is not led by goats. The world is led by sheeps. So yes, the sheeps and the goats are being separated, or the lambs, the goats, and it's the same thing to me. Same thing. Lamb, goat, I mean, lamb, sheep, all the same thing. We all start out as a lamb, and then you become the goat. You got to have guidance, but guidance is different. Guidance is different. Guidance is different from being a follower. So instead of you worrying about what someone else's spiritual path is, you just worry about why yours is not working for you. Because mine works for me. Mine works for me. I'm never hungry. I'm never hungry for spirit, and I'm never hungry for food. And I ain't never thirsty. My cup runneth over in the presence of my enemies. See, these people are our enemies. These are our enemies. These are our true enemies. The enemies to spirituality. And that to me is the real spiritual war. You have beings of the flesh who worship the flesh, who worship the Antichrist, who call themselves worshiping the Most High. But anything that you worship outside of yourself is the Antichrist. Veganism is the Antichrist. Yahweh is the Antichrist. Jehovah is the Antichrist. The Most High is the Antichrist, the way you niggas go about it. Because the real Most High is your crown, the throne. That's the real Most High. It's like the Super Mario game. Mario is a guide, and Mario is not really a guide. I take that back. Mario is excuse me. Mario is trying to find his crown, his throne. The princess is the crown and the throne. Bowser are these niggas online trying to distract you from your path. King Coopa, aka Bowser, he is the distraction, like these niggas are online talking shit. The princess is the throne. That's the crown. And that is what Mario is trying to find. Mario is trying to find his crown. That's what that's all about. He was on a quest to find the princess because the princess was the crown, the divine Christ energy. And King Cooper Bowser is the distraction, the demon of chaos. And his job was to prevent you from getting to the crown. So, in actuality, they're talking about people doing dark magic and black magic, which in their philosophy, they're looking at it or coming at it from a negative standpoint. But in actuality, they're the ones doing real black magic because they're trying to blind you with blackness and darkness so you can't see your path, so you can't follow your path. So they're trying to blind you with dark magic, black magic, the dark magic and the black magic of fear and misinformation and threats of eternal condemnation. What work are you doing? What work are you doing? King Koopa, aka Bowser? That's what Super Mario Brothers is all about. Mario trying to find his crown. And when you save the game in World 8, the eighth dimension, once you save the princess in World 8, you get your crown, you get your throne, and then you can go on to World 9 in some versions of the game. And in World 9, that's a new beginning. Right? So the real negative dark, or what they call negative dark magic, it comes from these Yahweh people. It comes from these fake Most High people. It comes from these fake toxic Christians and any other sheeps. It comes from them. They're the ones practicing real dark negative magic. They're trying to blind you from finding your true source within you. And they're using fear tactics to do it. They didn't like Brother Panic because Brother Panic told people there's nothing to be afraid of. Just do your own work, stay on your path, and there's really nothing to fear. And these people are using fear to control you. Some of them are using fear to get money out of you. He told people that. That's why you motherfucking niggas didn't like him. That is why. Tell the truth and shame the motherfucking devil. Most of these people, this is the devil right here. This is the devil right here. But what they do is they appear to people as beings of light, like they're trying to give you enlightened information. But you have to come in from the dark first before you can transform into light. Because remember, light comes from the dark. It's not the other way around. In the beginning, it was nothing but darkness. But then the Spirit of God moved across the face of the motherfucking deep. So the darkness was really the true God. The darkness is what created everything. So you can keep your motherfucking negative dark intentions and negative dark magic. You can keep that motherfucking shit. You don't have to go within yourself. You don't have to do that. But what you're not going to do is try to stop other people from going within themselves. You're not going to do that. And people have a right to stop people from doing that. You're not even in the third dimension. You're in the second dimension. You're in the dimension of torment. You're in hell. You're one step away from hell. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Take your vitamin B12 and y'all have a good day. You're either a sheep or you are a goat. If you are a sheep, stay with little Bo Peep. Okay? Little Bo Peep lost her sheep. You stay with little Bo Peep and you leave the rest of us alone. This is the occult view. Thank you.